All right, everybody, welcome back to the Furlough Podcast. On the show today, we have the infamous Mad Dog. Welcome aboard, man.
Well, it's good to be back. I think it was February.
Yeah, it's
I
been
was
a
in
year,
here.
man.
And here with my brother talking the war stories.
Yeah.
And, that was a good time. Yeah.
Glad to have you back on.
I'm glad to see all the mural here. This is season one.
Yeah, season things.
This is going to be worth something one day.
One day, I'm telling you, it's going to hang in a museum or something.
Oh yeah.
It's progression, man. We tell people all the time, if you do just a little bit of something every day, it'll grow. And as you know, you were here, and it was way more humble. It
was great then, but it's even greater now.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff and trying to build it and get the show, get people listening, and especially with all the things, this COVID thing going on, I've had more time to do more things, reach out to other people and try to build and I know you kind of had probably the first time you've had some off time in a long time as much as you've been running around.
Yeah. I had vacation for 4 days last year with my daughter and wife, and we'd been like to Chattanooga and to the aquarium and stuff like that. We went to the beach for like 4 days last year, but yeah, it's taken some getting used to, but it's been great. There's been, don't know what to do myself because for 30 years I wrestled and always did the fight night and stuff like that. So it's just kind of cool to have some downtime and do a lot of yard work and some shooting and, try to have some good family time. But yeah, let's be positive today. I'm tired of all this negativity, man. I'm a realist, but, let's put some light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, you're following your goals and wanting to do this and bringing entertainment to people. And, let's think about positive days to come. Let's don't talk city politics and all that stuff because then we'll be disgruntled just like the news.
That's right. Well, let's talk about, I was thinking, and you and I talked off air about it, and there's a couple of funny stories. Now, we don't have a bunch of people in here, but I used to think about all the fight nights you and Joey would run, and the characters or caricatures sometimes that people would show up to fight. And for the people that don't know, what fight night was Mad Dog and our other good friend Joey Marenberger would
and Chris Conley
yes,
Straight Blast right. and
Straight Blast, yeah, that's right, he did start a lot
Spartan,
of that up,
yeah.
And so they would run these fight nights, and a lot of the time it was like a smoker, if you will, boxing stuff, and the guys would come in from, these young guys would come into the bar and they'd sign their little waiver and they'd get up there. And this was before the athletic commission controlled all that stuff. And we can get to laughing about them too. But, basically these guys would come in, they'd sign their waivers and they would get in there and fight it up. And some of these guys, man, it's amazing how many people think they know how to fight.
Yeah, well, that's just every day. Guys think that they can fight like friggin' Seagal and Jason Statham in the Transporter and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the Hobbs and Shaw movie, But it became like a Saturday Night Live in living color Mad TV gimmick because guys would order stuff online or they would think that they were training with their buddy in their backyard and they would show up and have Everlast stuff. At the time, Affliction, On Tap, I know On Tap, Tap Out has came back, with WWE and stuff like that. But these guys would come in and, man, it was just the characters. And they would tell Joey and you, if you were the ref, like, oh, man, I've done this, I've done that. And it's the guy that wouldn't say anything that was always the one that could handle himself.
Always. And I tell this story. I've told this story. I don't know if people really. And I think I caught you by surprise last time we talked about it. I think it was the only time that I personally know that I made you mad was at one of those.
Yeah, but that didn't even make me mad. That's what was funny.
But you were mad at the situation.
Yeah.
And because Joey, I was just dating my wife at the time, and we come in, and I had my nice clothes on. But Joey knew me better than most people, and he knew I always had gear in the truck because we're always going and training, doing different things. This and that, and y'all are short a person, and he's like, "Hey man, I need you to, come in and do a few rounds with this guy. I think the guy just got out of prison. And
See, Mad TV and Living Color. You know.
And so he goes, you know, he introduced me to the guy. He goes, gentleman's agreement. He goes, I'm not trying to kill nobody. He goes, I just want to knock some ring rust off. He goes, let's just, you know, let's get out there and spar, you know, do whatever. And we did that, and you were down with it, and it worked out great. But before, when we were all in the back, people were getting ready. They had that one guy that was tall, and he was just jaw-jacking. And he was just like, oh, man, I can fight this guy. I can fight that guy. I'm this, and I'm that. And I remember sitting there. And
this was in Pelham, right? At Patella's.
At Patella's in Pelham. And I remember sitting there, and my fight's already scheduled, so I'm not, you know, thinking nothing about it. And you were getting frustrated because you were like, okay, well, I'll put you with this. No, I'll hurt that guy. I'll do the, you know, and he just on and on and on. And you were trying to be professional, and it was just creeping on you and creeping on you and creeping on you. And finally, it was decided, and I can't remember if it was Riddick or who it was that he was supposed to fight. And I fought, you know, my thing with the guy right before then.
Okay.
And as I was coming out, and I don't know why, I will say that, let me say this, it was probably ego. And, you know, when you're a lot younger and full of testosterone, but...
Does that ever change?
Maybe it comes down a little bit. But I come out of the ring, and I sit down to take my shin pads off. And he walked up, and Amber was sitting right there. And I guess I thought she could hear everything he said, but maybe she I don't think she did. But he walks up, and he goes, man, I should have fought you. I could have took it easy on you. And I don't know why. And this is out of character for me, I think.
Pulled the pin out of the grenade.
Yeah,
right
man,
there,
I just looked at him in shock. And I go, well, get your shit on. And he looked at me crazy. And I walked across the ring, and I told the other guy, hey, I'm sorry, man, I got to fight this guy. He looked at me like I was crazy. Mm-hmm. And I walked over, and I told you, and you were like, you threw your stuff up there, and you're like, I guess I'm not running anything anymore. You were so mad. And I was like,
yeah, but understand, remember, there was like this much room between a wall and the ring, and all these people every week would try to get in there and, hey, man, Joey, could you play this? Hey, man, could you do this? And I want to fight him. And when I do that, could you play Eminem and make the smoke and the lights? And, you know, it turned into like Siegfried and Roy, which, I mean, all of that is great. But it's a pizza place with fighting going on in the back room, you know. But no, it wasn't anything personal.
I know. I just thought it was so funny, looking back.
You know, it would stick out in my mind if it was like a big deal. So no, that's no hard feelings there. And you know,
just one of those funny memories.
Sometimes my sweet face, it's misunderstood. Maybe not sexy, but effective. We'll use that many times in the story today. That new T-shirt coming out.
Hey, speaking of T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Your nephew.
Yep, the heel hook.
The heel hook, Nate Dogg. I don't know if anybody see this. I'll post a picture.
These will be available online very soon.
Absolutely. Great artwork. Great artwork. Nate does a great job. Yeah. But, you know, I wanted Joey to come on today because I know he had tons of stories y'all could bounce back and off of each other. But those fight nights, man, I miss them, and I kind of see where the athletic commission was going with. They just wanted they wanted to rein in certain things, but I really didn't understand that because it wasn't like y'all weren't paying anybody that I remember.
They could, if they won twice or whatever, they could make a certain amount of money, but it was just. They weren't getting anything out of it, so they gotta it's a money grab. Athletic commissions, you know, they had these delusions of grandeur,
right?
That they were gonna make all this money on MMA fights and boxing. Deontay Holder, we gotta do this for him. That's the whole reason. Mm-hmm. And you know, pro wrestling should not be in that, but they ended up making it in it, and so
I never understood the pro wrestling thing at all. I mean, I get the athletic thing, but I mean, it's an entertainment versus.
Yeah, you know, Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr. said it was entertainment several years ago, and I don't know. It is real in the sense of everyone gets hurt, but I don't know. It's someone said, well, why don't someone create like a wrestlers guild, like they have the actors, like the SAG and
okay.
AFTA, but then it would be political too. So it's
Well, you get too many feelings.
it's saying, but they'll. I hate to say this, but I know someone who got a wrestling license for their friggin' dog.
How is that even possible?
He used a guy's picture and a name and whatever, but he just wanted to go and show that it was all a farce. But that's between him and them, so I could care less.
That's crazy.
But they've changed up so many people in that.
Sure,
it's not.
Sure, it's
never the same thing, and somebody can underbid, and now it's a cutthroat political game. So,
well,
good luck, guys. I hope y'all are doing well.
Yeah.
Wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Well, that's how we all met. A lot of people don't know that's how we met. Is Chris was your brother. Chris was the first promoter, and I'm assuming you were in on that, but he was the first.
Yeah. We did the International Cage Brawl, but
Yeah.
before that, it was the Underground Fight Club. Which that shirt that he put out a few weeks ago on Facebook, that was a classic. We have to get those
get them
redone.
Yeah, no joke.
But, yeah, it was good. Bell Bottoms, and the fight night led to Let's Do It at Bell Bottoms, and outgrew there. Went to the music hall a couple times, and went to Boutwell in 2003.
Yeah, Boutwell. I only think the thing to Boutwell that always stands out in my mind is the guy that wore the leopard print, almost like Speedos when he fought. I don't know who he was. I can't.
I've tried to block that out of my mind.
I remember.
I don't. I do remember it now that you bring it up.
All right. I mean, he was ahead of his time. He should have come out after the Tiger Kick. But
yeah, exactly.
But
Joe Maldonado Passage.
Yeah,
if he would have been a judge, that guy would have won. I can't remember. Did that guy win?
I can't.
The leopard panties. We'll call them leopard panties.
I can't remember, but it was so. I remember I was taken aback, and it takes a lot to take me aback. I remember sitting on the thing, and he come out, and I was like,
"Is he going to fight in that?"
Yeah.
Is that just his ring entrance? It's like Sakuraba back in the day of the Pride and whatever, wear the wrestling mask, and that's just his entrance.
That's it. Yeah, he fought in it. I just can't remember. I was punch drunk, I guess. I can't remember really how it ended. I just remember him running around the ring in this.
Let's just hope he won.
Yeah, we'll say he won whether he did or didn't. Right. Yeah, because it's just made for a good story.
No, it did.
But give us some of your crazy stories that you remember that I may not have been around for your fight nights. I know you got some good ones. Enlighten these people.
One night we're sitting in Pelham, and I get a phone call from Live Nation, a guy named Pat, and he says, "Hey, what are you doing Friday night?" And it's Thursday, we're at Patera's. He goes, "I need 2 wrestlers." And I say, "Okay, for what?" And he goes, "I need 2 wrestlers and a ref." I was like, "Oh, it's just going to keep adding to this thing." Mm-hmm. But he goes, "Brad Paisley and Darius Rucker have this huge thing where they're pranking each other every night. One night, one of them put plots of grass and live goats on one of them's bus, and then one night when Darius Rucker was singing Purple Rain, Brad Paisley had a older lady in her 90s come out and do like a striptease with the deal." So they were big wrestling fans, and what Darius wanted to do was, during one of Brad Paisley's songs, is have 2 wrestlers fighting and whatever, not falling around, but just punching and doing a chair. But I said, "Joey, what are you doing tomorrow night? You want to make some money?" "Well, yeah." I said, "We're going to ride to Columbus, Georgia. We're going to go on stage." And he goes, "Really?" So here we are. We dress nice, and we go to this venue, and we pull in, and we just don't look like we belong. Like, we're not wearing cowboy hats. We're not wearing boots, ropers, or vest, or looking like Porter Wagner back in the day. We don't look like we fit in at all, even with the modern country. And my wife's dressed nicer than anybody, and they stop her. Security stops her. We've gone past these guys 30 times, and they grabbed her, and I turned around. At this point, we had went and changed, and I had on my singlet, my do-rag, and had the dog collar and stuff like that. They're not stopping us, but they're going to stop my wife.
Who's dressed nice.
Yeah, who's dressed nice and looking beautiful. And I was like, "Hey, she's with me," They're like, oh, okay. So finally the promoter grabs, yeah, that's his wife. But we had to be on stage when Brad Paisley went out in the audience doing the Mud on the Tire song. And when he came back on, we were standing there. And one thing, he's like 5'5". He's tiny.
Yeah.
And he's looking at us like, what have I done? Because he didn't know if we're there to just, bang, pick him up and power press him like we're the Road Warriors or something. So he's like freaking out, and I high five him. And then I go back to doing the business with the wrestler. And funny thing is, Joey is such an excellent fighter and referee and a boxer and MMA and stuff. He was having to be a pro wrestling ref. He's just counting, come on, open that fist up. It was just great because, it was fun for him, but it was a good payday. And we fought out on the catwalk and all this stuff, and people were just grabbing us. We felt like we were Hulk Hogan celebrities, but got some good pictures from that. But it was fun. Darius Rucker loved it, and they brought us out during the encore. But that was just one of the fun things. But, yeah, people used to talk trash. I mean, I don't know. It was like you've seen Gladiator. And the way that Bell Bottoms was set up, it was kind of like a coliseum. You had the people up on the balcony, right, and they would yell, and everybody's drinking and having fun and carrying on. And it was just sometimes people would try to challenge. It happened to Chris Conley more than it happened to Joey. People would be like, I can take that referee.
All the time.
And we would try to, did it ever happen to you? I can't remember if anybody said they were going to.
I've had a couple guys. The good ends, I had people challenge me. And then I actually had, which was weird, is apparently I had sparred with a guy one time at one of the gyms. And he was come to fight. And I think y'all were going to tag him up with me. And he wouldn't fight me. And I couldn't remember him for anything. So it was a weird dynamic. You either had people that just, I can take you, or you had people that, just looked at you going, I'm not fighting that guy. And it's like, it's such a weird dynamic. But Conley, I have never seen somebody, and even when he bartended, people wanted to fight him all the time. And he'd try to blow it off. Sometimes he just had to do it. And, he's just like,
I'll take you, man. Let's go.
He'd wear their ass out, man. But it was amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, are you foolish? So speaking of foolish people, do you remember Mark Henry, the world's strongest man in the WWE?
Yeah.
He was in the Olympics in '96. Now he stalled on a lift or whatever, but he had he ended up having a 10-year career in WWE. But what happened was he came down and we became buddies because one of the guys I'd trained and went to Louisville, Kentucky, went up there and he got to knowing Mark. And he said, look Mad Dog up. And anytime somebody would come have surgery from WWE, they would come there. Kevin Nash came down, Big Sexy. And Mark Henry had tore his quad or something. I can't remember what he tore. He messed up his T-band. And he was there, and he came down, and he's huge. I mean, 6'4", 6'5", every bit of 400-something pounds, and just a huge man. Reminds me of the Bigfoot right there, the Yeti, yeah. But in real form. And he would come down, and there was a guy, and I'm not making this up, there was a guy that was 6 foot tall, and kind of jacked, wearing the pantyhose shirt from the time and 2000 whatever. And he goes, man, I swear this is something you think I'm quoting from Roadhouse. I thought you was bigger. You look bigger on TV. Says this to Mark Henry. And Mark Henry's so laid back, he's like, hey, dawg, listen. That fool says he's going to whoop my ass. And I said, no, he's got to be drunk or something. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to go to the ATM and get $10,000. And if he can't knock me out within 30 seconds, I'm going to body slam him over the top and throw him over the top rope.
Oh, God.
And I said, no, Mark. And I'm trying to talk him down. Well, the guy he's like the little chicken hawk on Looney Tunes. Yeah, I'm a chicken hawk looking for a chicken. I say, I'm watching this. And this guy's like, yeah, man. And he's talking trash, pointing at him. And Mark Henry's like, I'm going to kill you, boy. And he's like, this little redneck's going to get squished. And finally, Mark Henry comes up, and he's sweating. I mean, he is just like somebody, he had taken a shower with his clothes on. He goes, I'm gonna really whoop this dude. And I said, and then his fists are clenched, and he's like mad, and he's like one of the guys you don't get mad. So finally, I get the guys to throw him out, but to make Mark feel good, they played his music from WWE, and I brought him in the ring, and he said hello, whatever. But he goes, I just want you to know. He grabs my, I want you to know that I was going to have a white boy challenge day. Because he was doing something in Louisville at that time, the white boy challenge. He goes, white boy wasn't going to win. That's what he said. And the whole place, going crazy. But I was like, who's going to stop this guy? You know, I'm not. There's no way, you know. I mean, we'll have to call the police. And then he might hurt somebody. But that was a scary moment. Usually, you know, Conley would call me the silver-tongued devil. He said, man, you can convince anybody to fight. You know, and I'm like, well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Being in wrestling for 30-something years now, sometimes this is a story that goes back to 2004. And there was a guy saying, hey, I want you to come to my nephew's birthday party. And this wrestler guy says, man, yeah, why don't we go and I'll tag team with him, and we'll bring another wrestler. We'll bring 3 wrestlers, and the one guy, we'll make his dad look good, you know, for his nephew. I was like, okay. And I was like, I don't know. I don't have a booking. He goes, look, he's going to give us like $600. And I was like, okay, that's $200 a piece. All right, cool.
Day run?
Yeah, I know. I you know, Price is Right. I'll be there tonight. You know, it's like, okay. So that morning, phone rings. Hey, man, I'm not going to make it. And I said, well, is it still on? Yeah, it's still on. We're going to go. He goes, but you're going to get all the money, and you can pay the other 2 guys or whatever, all right? So I get there, and I pull up, and my friend John Jones, God rest his soul, no longer was a doorman from Bell Bottoms. He went with me. It was on a Saturday afternoon. And I said, hey, man, thank you. Go with me. I said, I'll give you some money just for go. Oh, no, it'll be fun. So we get there, and we pull up, and it's like a rap video, dude. You can hear music. I was like, this is not a kid's birthday party. This is not a kid's birthday party. So we walk up, and, like, there are ladies dressed in bikinis and thongs, and this is not a kid's birthday party.
We may have the wrong address.
No, that's what I was thinking. You know, MapQuest. We didn't even, you know, we went GPSing in 2004 or Garmin or whatever. So we go in, and the guy that's throwing the parties there, he goes, hey, I'm glad you guys are here. And oh man, this is bad. I did not do cocaine, but there was cocaine at this party and alcohol and everything. Oh, and he goes, hey man, you want to do? No. He goes, let me tell you what's going on. He goes, here's your money, and he goes, you can count it. You know, $100 bills. And I was like, okay. He goes, but it's just gonna be you and me. And I was like, okay. And I look, and he's got an Obaki shirt on. You know, Tim Obaki, the Hold Till Cold that had the school. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this guy's he's got some skill about him. And I'm like, oh, this has gotten weird. Yeah. He goes, so what I've decided to do, considering I don't think I can wrestle and whatever, and he goes, I don't want to get hurt, and I don't want you to get hurt. We're gonna box. Okay. He goes, but I want you to be like the bad guy, like Mr. T in Rocky 3. Okay. He goes, and if the end, if you would be so willing, just, you know, maybe let me knock you down, we'll TKO or something. I was like, all right. I said, I'm not really a boxer, but I knew a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But I look at John, I was like, this is scary. They've already paid us. I know, I'm not saying he's on drugs, but drugs are here, so there's a possibility. I didn't even want Red Bull or anything because we're going to go out there in the afternoon, on the spring afternoon in Georgia, and it's a boxing ring, so it's going to be just like what I'm used to with wrestling. I mean, it's a wrestling ring, but we're going to be in there. And he goes, I'm going to tell you that I want you to wear a headgear for your protection. And he goes, and I'm going to wear 12-ounce gloves. You can wear like an 8 or a 10. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Now, see?
Getting weird.
Yeah, it's getting weirder. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. So they play my music, and I come down and I run the crowd down, and I said how I'm gonna whip him and whatever. Now the nephew is like 16,
Right.
and all his friends are there, and there's a lot of people there, and I'm like, okay, I'll do what I said I was gonna do. So I come down here he comes, and he comes down, and he's just like giddy as all get out. He's red in the face, and I mean, he looks like he's really ready to fight. And I'm like, okay, give it back to him. And he comes in, and we hit gloves. And the ref comes over in the corner. She goes, you better watch it. He's going to throw a wild right at the beginning. I said, okay. I said, tell him, remember, this is going to be a kind of tight sparring match because he wants to go like 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we get out there. And dude, he gives me an overhand right, poosh, and I get that. Chris and me have a joke. It tastes like copper.
Yeah.
And the little sting.
Yeah.
We said Leonard Skinner wrote the song "That Smell." That's the smell of death.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy just KO'd me. So I had to cover up, and so I've got a mouthpiece. I was like, hey man, we're gonna go 3 rounds and whatever, and I'm throwing him back at me, and then he throws a left, and so I just start blocking him. But he's getting harder. Whoom! Whoom! Haymakers. So I'm like, I told the ref, I grabbed up to him and clenched him in. I was like, hey, man, this is not what you said. And he goes, F you. And I was like, oh. So I'm going in, I'm covered up, and I've got shorter arms. This guy's pretty jacked. And I'm like, what would Chris Mize do? Boom! Left to the liver. He falls. And I'm like, I smell something. He crapped himself right there in the ring, and he's not getting up. He's not going to get up. So I'm like, oh, my God. And they're like booing me. And I'm like, yeah, up yours. And I go over there, and I check on him. And I said, are you all right? He goes, man, that was rough, man. You didn't go with the deal. I was like, you're trying to kill me, man. And he goes, just help me up. So I went to help him up, and the son of a bitch tries to armbar me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. It's a heart attack. I'm serious. So I grab my arm, and I'm like, oh, that's it. And so I get on top of him, and I can't open him, and I'm ripping his. I'm like, I'm going to pull this guy's head off as hard as I can. And he's going, I said, are you tapping? And he goes, yep. So now I'm like, I look at John, and I was like, grab my bag. We're not even going back in there to change. We're leaving. And we're leaving. And my buddy calls me on the cell phone. It's like, hey, what just happened? I was like, you didn't show up first, asshole. That's the first thing. And I said, he tried to kill me. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, where are you going? I said, home.
Home.
Yeah, with my money. And I said, he goes, oh, he did pay you. So from then on, no more birthday parties, because it was bad enough to go in there and try to do a tag team thing with a guy that has no clue of anything, but he was trying to kick my ass that day.
And that you don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like, here we're going to work.
He came to shows before in Jackson, Georgia, and he seemed like the coolest guy, but he was like a gym rat. He wore the Affliction stuff. And the Zubaz, I know they've came back now, but I've always liked them. But he was one of these guys that had money and flashy and had a Rolex on and had nice cars and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I guess he thought he was just going to get me to drop my guard and do a rough sparring match, and he was going to beat the hell out of me. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
that's crazy.
My buddy John was like, I can't believe that. He goes, all I was thinking is, I sure am glad Mad Dog has his gun in this bag.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm glad we gathered up for some reason I felt like we should just go ahead and have all our stuff. That way we don't have to come back. In case I get my bell rung, I don't have to gather my shoes and this and that. Yeah. We had everything. And we drove down the road. I had a towel on and my gear. When we got to, I think it's the Tallapoosa or the Waco exit, number 9. That's when I was like, I'm going to go in here at the Love's gas station, and I'm going to go in there, and you can shower for the truck, not with the truckers, but you can book the thing. And I changed there, and I was just like, on the way home, we were just laughing. And for years and years, we laughed and laughed about that. But
Did you ever have any contact with that guy?
no. And I kept waiting, like we'd be at Jackson, Georgia Armory or some show, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to come back
He's
and
gonna
get me
show
or
up,
whatever.
yeah.
But I lost track with that guy. Farrell, too. That was the guy's name that was trying to put that all together. And he goes, I swear I didn't know anything about it. I swear I didn't know anything about it. I said, well, there's just weird that you and the other guys didn't want to come that day. And I was like, did y'all have it out for me? You know? And I mean,
or maybe not have it out, but maybe have a little bit of doubt in that guy's mental state.
Yeah, I mean, wrestlers are whores sometimes. We'll do anything for $1. So.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit there and get my teeth knocked out and not be able to go home. You know, I was single at the time, and, you know, I did count the money, and we laughed, and we went to the New China Buffet on the way home, you know, and had like a big meal and the cheap sushi.
Yeah.
But for years we laughed about that. And, man, it was just a bad situation. It could have been really bad. But I really felt for like one of the first times in my life that this could be it. You know, like, yeah. I mean, because you got to get out of there. You got this party
and I don't care
and
how...
I told you the drugs was there, so everybody's
up,
you know, thinking, you know, I mean...
And I don't care how tough you are. We're humans. And you got 2 guys versus, say, 30 guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I don't care if they're 16 or 36.
Right.
That's people. You know what I'm saying? And you're thinking, oh, shit, how am I going to get
out? Yeah, exactly.
I got to get myself out of this situation.
Mm-hmm. But I think...
We need to make a movie about that. That's awesome.
Man, it was a bad thing. And I was sore for days, you know, because I'm telling you, when you think you're doing this sparring match and just going to, you know, tip-tap and, you know, just throw a couple, and he catches you. Whoosh. I mean, that's probably what originally messed my neck up. I don't know. I don't know if it was that or wrestling.
Well, what's the old saying? Everybody has a puncher's chance.
Yeah, but that was fight or flight. I really felt like if you don't get your act together, you know, thank God you know how to at least halfway take care of yourself, because I was like, if I drop him, I'm going to risk hurting myself, and like if I give him a suplex, I don't want to kill him, but I got to get him loose. But I thought at the point that he had pooped a little bit and he wasn't getting up, that it was okay, and I was really going to like raise his hand and make him feel good, because that was my job.
Yeah.
But then he grabs me and tries to armbar me, man. That was garbage. I remember John was bald-headed. He was one of the big door guys. He was a Marine, and he came into the ring when that guy tried to armbar me.
Oh, he thought it was
on. Oh, yeah,
now.
He said I was coming in. He goes, I was just going to start kicking in heads. You know, he's going to do the L.A. riots, you know.
Your only saving grace, though, is everybody might have thought it was a work.
Yes, I mean, that's what I mean. I think it took time for it to resonate to these people.
That was real.
Okay, he just whooped Bobby's ass, you know. But Bobby's got him. When he oh, yeah. And I was just like, oh, no. Hammer fist, grab my arm, push back, and let's go, you know. And I was like, I rode him, man. And it was a good thing to have Chris Mize as a brother, you know, that picked up on little things.
Yeah.
Besides working in the security. But stopping at the love stuff, over the summer last year, my daughter, who's 5, very innocent, she came to school and she goes, well, what'd y'all do for vacation this year? Oh, we went to the beach and the hurricane came. We couldn't get in the water. But you know what my daddy's favorite thing to do is? No, what's that? His favorite gas station is Love Stuff. He likes all their merchandise in their clean bathrooms. Now, she's talking about loves, not love stuff. But her teacher had to tell us, oh, my God, it's so precious. And no one else knew. But she goes, if other adults heard that, all their merchandise, because, you know, they always got all these computer things and candy and sandwiches and merchandise, unlike the love stuff. Lady butterfly, rabbits, you know, all that good stuff.
Well, you know, it's funny. if I had a daughter, it'd be the same thing, because I have this weird thing for truck stops. I go in there and I'm amazed at some of the stuff that they sell. So I could easily see if I had a small dog.
Going. He looks at all the merchandise and stuff because
to-
sometimes at the one we stopped at on the way to the beach had like armor, like medieval armor with Spartan helmets and stuff. They were like $80-something.
Yeah.
You know, I almost bought one.
There you go.
April's like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I'm gonna hang it up. It's gonna collect dust. But it's a Spartan helmet.
It's a Spartan.
You know? She knows I love the movie Gladiator.
Have you ever been to Buc-ee's?
No.
Oh my God, I've been to Buc-ee's in Houston. That place is amazing.
This commercial brought to you by Buc-ee's.
That's right. Exactly.
Where is it?
Well, they've got one down in South Alabama now near the beach, but they're all over the place. And I'll give them a shout out because their truck stops, their big ones are the size like Walmart.
Okay.
And they have like in their pumps, they got like 30 something plus pumps out front, the whole 9 yards. But the one I went in Houston, they had a hunting section. They had a barbecue section. You could buy full on grills, smokers, tree stands for hunting. You could buy dishes. You could buy clothes. I mean, it was like, and I got one of the coolest
it's like
shirts.
A PX, a military
Yes,
PX,
it is like a military PX. It is exactly like that. And I got a cool shirt, Sasquatch shirt. It says "Off to the Woods We Go." It's one of my favorite shirts. I got that there. It's super awesome, man.
It's like a big turnaround. I keep looking at Sasquatch and I was thinking, Mark Henry has this fascination with Bigfoot. One night coming back from Louisville, I was not in the car, but he was riding in the front seat because he's larger than everybody else, and they were in an Escalade. And he said they're going like through Bowling Green and going up to Indiana right across the bridge, and it's a real wooded area. And he goes, "He out there. Who's out there, Mark? Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever you want to call him. He's out there." And like he has this firm belief that he lives somewhere in Kentucky. So I picked fun at him about it, but then I realized, okay, he's not joking.
He's serious.
He is serious, and like he's gonna get mad. Don't want to make him angry. We saw that one night at Bow on him, so we don't want to do that. But.
See, man, I bet did he ever go looking for him?
I don't know. I think he was really scared. That's what's funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it's a fearful respect. Like, I don't think I'm going to.
I ain't messing with that.
Go tromping around in the woods.
Well, you got to be a big Sasquatch to scare him.
Well, he might could play him. He's like on the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Make a little money off of it.
Yeah, like Andre the Giant, and the guy from Pinson played Sasquatch on the $6 Million Man. There was a guy that actually.
Yeah, was it Jaws? The guy that played Jaws on.
I don't know if it was Richard. That was Richard Keel. I don't know if it was him or not, but I'd see that guy in the grocery store as a kid, being like 4 and 5 years old, going, "Wow." I really thought he was going to like snap into being Sasquatch in the grocery store. And I would be fearful. My mom was like, "He's not. That's a man in a suit." You're just telling me that.
Yeah. Am I telling a lie when I said the guy that played Jaws on James Bond, didn't he live in Pinson? Or somewhere
I have
near
to
here?
check and see. That might have been. I was so young, man. I just... if we were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'd have to use my lifeline. Chris Mice. Is it Richard Kill, the one that lived in Pinson?
Yeah.
Yeah. For the $10,000 question.
I may be telling a lie.
I don't know.
But
I mean,
somebody told me, but you know how rumors get.
Yeah. Not in Alabama now.
Yes. Well, let's go back to wrestling, man. Let's talk about. I mean, a lot of people know that you're big into wrestling. Have always been big into wrestling. Are you still with that wrestling outfit, that smaller one that was local?
Global Championship Wrestling hasn't ran a show since I had my neck fused, but I've been working with Universal Championship and then Lariato Championship Wrestling, which is the Good Brothers Dojo that's ran by Micah Taylor and Underground Fitness. Him and Luke Gallows, they kind of work together and they're training guys. So Lariato Pro Wrestling, been working with them for the last couple of years, and things are going good.
Okay, cool.
So their next show is supposed to be June 20th. They keep postponing it because of all the BS going on. So,
well, what's some of the craziest wrestlers you've not said? Nothing negative, but what's some of the wildest wrestlers that you've worked with that, like, you look back and you go, "Damn, man, that was one of those. I'm glad that happened."
Getting to book in 2003, I've worked with a lot of guys, but in 2003, I was trying. My partner, Night Prowler, and myself were going to go against the Road Warriors.
Oh, cool.
And in 2003, a month before, we went over, and they had already got their deposit, whatever. And Hawk and Animal says, "Look, we're coming back from Japan. We may not can make it."
Oh,
Because of the time difference and all
Sure.
that stuff. So they're like, "We're going to give you your deposit back." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Well, who can you guys suggest that's an old school name?" And they're like, "How about Dusty Rhodes?"
oh,
And
cool.
that's when the deal came up with Dusty. And I already had Rick Steiner booked on the card. And so those two tagged against me and Night Prowler. But the main event that night was Terry Funk and
Terry
Raven. And they had just had a huge feud back in '97 on pay-per-view for ECW. And Terry Funk was one of the. That's other than meeting The Rock one time in 2000. That was just like, because you pick him up in the airport and he's got a huge dip in his mouth and he's just like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "Fine, how are you?" And we had like this limo bus that we picked him up on. And he goes, "This is damn nice." And I was just talking to him about, I said, "Hey, do you remember what your first line was in Roadhouse?"
Oh, I
About
thought
the jump truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, "Hell, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast." And he goes, "Give me a hint." And I said, "You told him to mess with you, he'd have to have something big enough in a dump truck." "Oh yeah, that was good. I think I ad-libbed that one."
Yeah.
And but
God,
yeah,
he's
that
a big
was
guy.
a moment.
Did he play football?
Yeah, at West Texas, him and Dusty Rhodes and somebody else were all on that same team. But yeah, those guys were tough. And
He just looked.
Terry's still alive. You know?
Yeah. He looks like, and you know how you have a distorted sense of vision, from your childhood or stuff like that. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but he reminds me of what dads looked like to me when I was a little kid.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? A little rough around the edges,
Right.
big and strong, but not like gym guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not bodybuilder type guys, but you look at him.
Cornbread fed tough
Yeah,
guys.
just tough guys.
Grizzled. Like
Yeah.
I'll just whip your ass if you want to. I mean, the thing about his promos as a kid, you believed him. And when
Yeah.
he would be on a thing and he goes, "I'm gonna make you listen," and he's like holding a horse by the straps or something, and he smacks a horse and the horse is. "That's right. I'm gonna do this to you, Ric Flair." And he would you believed him. You're like, "Oh, this guy's nuts." He's really crazy. But yeah, that's one of the greatest things, getting to book him and work on him. But so many great folks like Sensational Sherry. She's passed, and she worked for me and then did some stuff in WCW. She was always a very kind, sweet lady, and it was sad because she passed like the week after Benoit or the week before. It was all right there together. And the only wrestlers that came to her funeral in Alabama was Jake the Snake, Booker T, Charmel, Booker T's wife, Marty Jannetty, Medusa, myself, and Bernie Quanowitz, the ref that ref with me. And the rest of it was just family because there was such a big black eye to the wrestling business at that time because it was uncertain what had happened to her. And they wrote it off as a suicide, but I don't think so. I mean, that's just my opinion. She had been through too much to give up at that point.
Right.
So,
There was a couple of wrestlers I question, some of the official statements on, which is weird. The wrestling world's always been weird to me because it's like its own. It's almost like its own universe to me, and that from the outside looking in, it seems like and maybe it's like in the jiu-jitsu world. A lot of these people, that's their world, that's their families and friends, and this guy will marry the daughter of this other wrestler, and it's just this weird entity upon itself, and it's almost like a private club, if you will.
it's like a secret society almost. But the thing is, when you're at the show and you're in the ring, whether you're getting booed or you're getting cheered, you're on top of the world, and you got to come down to reality. And that's why it's always good to have somebody travel with you, because you go back to the hotel room and you got to have something to take you down, or some guys fall back on pain stuff because they hurt. Alcohol, women. I mean, it's a tough world, and the temptations of the world are there. But you're on this Mount Olympus, and you have to come back down to reality, and it's hard. Especially like when guys get released from WWE. They've just released somebody, a bunch of guys recently, and I've had some friends that were released. Luke Gallows is one of them, and several guys I know. But like agents like Mike Rotunda and Scott Armstrong and Fit Finley, guys that, what are they going to do? Some of the younger guys, they can go work somewhere else if things go back to being sort of normal.
Mm-hmm.
But the older guys in their 60s that were producers and stuff, what are they going to do? They're going to get paid for 3 months, but after that, what are they going to do with themselves, All they've done is known wrestling their whole life. And I always wanted to make it big, but I'm glad that, it was still great and fun, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. The surgeries suck, but if I hadn't had those, you have to adapt the way you work in the ring to those injuries.
Absolutely.
And it teaches you to be smarter. And then you look back when the older guys used to say, when you take a fall in wrestling, we call it a bump. And I know all these terms are online, but they'll say, you're going to wear out your bump card, kid. You're going to take too many. You only get so many. And I'm like, oh, no. I took falls in judo on a little bitty mat,
Yeah.
But
you wear
it
your
catches
ass
up
out.
with you. Nobody is invincible. And but just like guys with PTSD and depression and stuff, it don't matter what you're doing, find somebody to talk to, man. There's special groups out there. It's not weakness to tell someone, hey, I'm down, and I know a lot of that garbage is going on right now, whether people have, they're worried about tomorrow. And if you listen to this and you heard me cussing earlier, I try to tell you, God's got this thing under control, and, don't put your faith in politics and all that kind of stuff. Just love your family and appreciate your friends and stuff, but check on your people. That's the thing, check on your friends. Don't say, oh, he'll think I'm lame if I call and check. Hell, just send him a text, or, somebody you hadn't talked to him for. There's nothing that cannot be worked out.
With FaceTime
get with your people and just talk, know. Sometimes people, if something gets placed in your mind, do it. Don't fight the chance, because you're like, oh, I haven't talked to him since 2 Christmases ago when my brother-in-law didn't finish working on his car that he paid for, or something retarded, something so stupid. But you think it's something huge, and then you reach out to the person, and it's nothing at all. So be kind, and respect each other. If the world would respect each other better, it would be a lot better place. But
I think if we had more wrestling shows, I think.
Yeah, it'd be good. But wrestling can be dirty, but so can martial arts, and anything can be negative. But you have to stop it.
Yeah.
My granddaddy McKay, my mom's dad, used to say, you have to put the quietus on it. When something happens, like Barney Five nip it in the bud, when you see some BS going on, you got to grab hold of it right there and stop it. Because if you don't, it's like cancer.
Start spreading.
And it'll destroy your dojo or your training school or work, a regular job, I mean, you see things going on, and people say, well, that's not my business, so I don't want to get involved. But eventually it will be affecting you. That's the truth.
That is fact.
Same thing at home with your wife. We're both married.
Yeah.
You got to work stuff out.
Sure.
Don't let things simmer, because
I'm lucky. My wife keeps me in tight check, whether she realizes it or not.
Mine too.
And I appreciate her for it. It's a good yin and yang, if you
right?
will.
It does. We used that phrase before going on the air. But it's true.
She made a funny joke last night, as a matter of fact, before we recorded this, that she considered herself a loose nut, but I tighten her. And
yeah, but then you take turns. Sometimes you're the socket. That's the thing. But that's why, God's blessed put us together. And, one thing that I will say that when the power was out from the tornadoes that came a couple weeks ago, um, my parents have like an underground house that's really nice and all this kind of stuff, and it's really climate controlled. And
They have an underground house.
yeah, they put a roof on it now, like an A-frame deal, but like it's like a storm shelter. The walls are like 42 inches thick, and they got these river rocks on the front. It's awesome. It's like a bomb shelter, is what I say. It's
Holy
like,
shit!
but we're there for the tornadoes, and they happen, whatever. The power goes out, going out for 72 hours, and we had like a generator we brought in and kept the refrigerators and stuff going a couple hours a day. And my mother says, I won't have my essential oils diffuser and my sound machine and the fan tonight. I said, do you realize how spoiled we are just saying that?
Yeah, just
I said, we have become a bunch of weak people. Not the CPAP part, nothing saying that. I'm just saying, like, but the fan, the diffuser, and all this stuff, and it's just.
Speaking of, I think my poor wife would probably go nuts if she didn't have a fan. She's one of those fan people.
I'm a fan guy too, and it's not for the cold air; it's just the noise, ambient noise.
That noise, yeah.
Yep, I had to travel with one for years because you need it. I don't know why. It's crazy.
It's that weird thing. We are spoiled though. Yeah, I guess it could be a good thing in a sense because, I mean, until somebody proves different, we only got one run at it.
That's right. Enjoy life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, it's just here we are. All this stuff was going on outside the walls of the pandemic. The Birmingham. Oh, you're wearing a mask. Got to do this. Got to do that. I'll put you in jail. $500 fine. And there we are thinking, if the fan will just work tonight. We're all healthy here and got plenty of food. Yeah, nothing's going to happen.
Got to be prepared. So what's your next big thing, man? What's the next big, now
looking forward to being able to train guys. Like,
I was going to ask you that. I interviewed actress and Constance Payne. She's out of Atlanta, and she's by the time you hear this show, you'll have heard the show that comes out with the writer and director of the movie or the series that she's going to be in for season 2. But and I had mentioned to her, she does fight choreography and stuff like that, and I actually mentioned to her that I need to hook you and her husband up together. He's a big guy too. That if we ever start running your school and training guys and stuff like that, that'd be good for them to reach out to you and get some training and all that good jazz.
You never can have too many contacts.
Oh, absolutely.
That's networking is everything this day and time. That's why social media is good. There's a bunch of garbage on there. These people with medical degrees that never went to medical school.
Yeah.
But
I got grounded from social media by my wife because she said I was hateful.
It's all an interpretation. When you walk around with a face like mine, people just think you're always angry. And I was like, no. If I'm angry, you will know it, and so will the world.
What did speaking of anger, how'd you develop your stage persona? When you, because you got a good one. I don't know if people when you start turning it on. Because I know you've been to wrestling almost all your life, and you've been interested in it.
I was told by somebody that I look like Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, and JYD and some of the guys would tell people I was his illegitimate kid, and that's where the name started. But I didn't realize that people hated that guy.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So 5 years ago, I was doing extra talent at WWE in Birmingham, and here comes this guy walking down the hall, and it's the Undertaker. And he's got on flip flip flops, whatever, and he's walking all grizzled or whatever. And Scott Armstrong goes, "Hey, Undertaker wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." So I introduced myself. I said, "I'm Dan." Always first name basis. And he goes, "Are you related to Buzz Sawyer?" And I was like, "No, sir, that's just the name." He goes, "Damn good thing. He took money from me when I was a young boy trying to get in this business." I was like, "Absolutely no respect." His name was Brian Wowen, and I have no relation at all. We are not a relations. Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm serious, and I'm like, oh my God, I just felt like I was going to get bullied.
Now, let me ask you this question. Is he as big as he freaking looks?
Yeah.
He looks huge.
But his voice is really like that all the time. And so he's looking down at you. And even with his little scrawny looking legs and some Umbro shorts or whatever, he's still massive upper body and everything. So, yeah. And I was quick to say, no, I'm not really. No, sir, not me.
You owe
not
me money. I don't know.
It was good, you know. But Scott Armstrong was laughing about that. And his brother, the road dog, Jesse James, which is Brian Armstrong and stuff. And they were just laughing at me because I was like, you guys set me up, didn't you? But the Uso twins, or Rikishi sons, they worked with me at GCW here in Alabama for like 3 years before they made it. So it's good when you go see those guys and you're in better shape than you were when they saw you how many ever years ago. You know, it's because I was a little chunky, like you saw in the Engines of Destiny. You know, and I remember, you sent me this picture. You're like, I just watched a movie, a screener, and this is you, isn't it? I was like, yeah, a few pounds ago.
I tried to. I've tried to talk them into extending that character for you.
You know, I never got killed. They said I might come back with an arm or something.
Yeah.
But he got in better shape with that cyborg arm.
Yeah.
Maybe lost a lot of blood.
There you go. But I think.
Yeah, those guys are great. Dealing with Brian Pace and Hunter and David Woods, those guys are fantastic. And Rachel Fiona Marshall, all those actors, and Ichabod Temperance, you know, he's one of the guys that writes the steampunk stuff.
Ichabod.
He played a soldier in that, but he does steampunk novels and writes stuff. But I know him via another persona as Bernie Kwanowitz, the ref that would move around. Yeah.
What a name.
Yeah, what a name, right? But, that was his referee character's name. So, all these facades that we put out, we wear mini masks.
I think I could do the ref thing. I don't think I could be a ref. I'm not big. I don't think I have the build for a wrestler.
Dude, wrestling, I mean, it's all about heart and being able to. Can you draw money? That's what it's about. You know, it doesn't matter. The mold has been broken as far as like when we were kids that. In WWE, if you weren't 6'5" and 300 pounds of muscle, you couldn't make it. I mean, there's guys that have broke the mold there, like Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan is what they call him. But different size guys, you know, different strokes, different folks. And if you
maybe it's more relatable.
Yeah, if you want to do something though, put your mind to it and do it. Don't let somebody tell you can't.
All right, so if somebody listening to this and you got a young person, I'll say young person because a lot of girls wrestle now.
Oh yeah.
What would be your advice to give somebody if they were thinking about, say they're 17, 18, thinking about getting into wrestling? What advice would you give them? Would be a smart way of going about it?
Learn some public speaking and be able to do that part, but get in shape. Hindu squats. You know, people say, well, I can't afford to go to the gym. Look up Hindu squats on YouTube and do about 500 of those a day. Seriously, you know, I mean, in Japan, no kidding, at Antonio Inoki's dojo, they make them do 1,000 to start. And then they do the wheelbarrow with each other.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then they do the push-ups. And then they get in the ring. But there's 2 hours of calisthenics and
conditioning.
All kinds of conditioning, because they don't want you unless your mind's strong. But it's like the military. Got to break you down to build you up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you can get past all that stuff, you'll be fine. You'll definitely be tough. That's for sure.
Yeah. Damn. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but if you can do that legitimately, I mean, you can't do that to begin with. There's no way. But you can start off at 50 a day, and then 50 in the morning, 50 in the evening, and then go to 100 and 100. And eventually, after about 3 or 4 months, you can get up there and do it.
And
just don't go down too far and blow out your knees, because you'll do that enough just being in the business.
And you can do all that in your apartment, your bedroom, doesn't matter.
Yep. Don't make excuses, because that's what's wrong with society today. They want to just throw some excuse out there of why they didn't train, and you know, I read something. I think it was the Gracies put something out about the most important thing, being on time, and your training partner, because without them, you don't have anybody to work with.
Absolutely.
And they're there to make you better and you to make them better. But accountability, man, people just aren't accountable anymore. They don't want to show up. They want to be late, not show at all. Oh my gosh, you talk about that'll put me in the red quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think all of us struggle to a point of it, because we overextend ourselves and things like that. But I think finding that balance, and that'll make you accountable and not overload your cart. And it's easy to do, but there are some people that just don't care.
Right.
And so we got to, as a society,
weed them out.
Weed them out and break that up. There's some people that you might see them today and not see them for a week, and then they show back up like it was just yesterday.
My father, and Chris and me laugh at it now, but for 30 years he worked for Drummond Coal, and it just took 30 minutes to get to work, but he would leave an hour and a half early every day.
Holy shit.
And one day, we always laughed about it. He goes, you know what happened? There was a wreck down there and something other. And he goes, if I hadn't left that early to take another route, I'd have never got there. So he goes, better believe it. So that's one thing. If I'm not on time to a booking or to an appointment or speaking engagement, something is bad wrong. So that's something my dad has always really put in our mind, always being on time. That's as important as your word, because that is your word. If you say, hey,
sure,
we're going to train at 5 and you're not there at 4:30, 4:45 to, get dressed, that don't mean you were putting on our gis or our training gear at 5.
Right.
Or at 4:55. If you ever start being late, you're going to continuously be late. And if you ever quit something, that's a horrible habit too, because you'll just throw up your hands and say, I'll just quit this too. And then next thing you know, you're like, well, why don't anyone trust me anymore?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, you got to just be disciplined. And it's not just a pipe dream. You got to believe it before you can do it. So if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to have doubts. Good gosh, there's so many times that things come up in the profession I'm in now with executive protection world and all that stuff. There's things that's always going to happen, but you've got to be ready for anything and just be able to roll with the punches. And don't freak out. If something goes off kilter, you can't freak out. It's like you can't blueprint a fight. That's the thing. You got to have this and that and to protect and, I got this as a fallback. But it's a whole nother world when you're on the street.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought something up. A lot of people don't know that Mad Dog runs an executive protection company. And so if you're ever in the need for event security, or if you just personal
Alpha
protection.
Tactical.
Alpha Tactical.
Yep.
So if you need to, make sure that you reach out to Mad Dog here, and you can call him Dan, but I have to call him Mad Dog because that's what I've always.
I've answered the worst today, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
The quarantine,
Yeah, but Mad Dog, it was great having you on, man.
Thank you, man. It's always a great time, and I'm glad everything is evolving and it's getting bigger. I love the mural. Where are you gonna put season 2?
I have no idea.
You're gonna have to get a museum.
Well, maybe, just maybe, if we keep moving forward, we'll get a bigger venue.
Yeah. You got to keep these.
Oh, yeah. It's
the only thing is I suggest you put somewhere on it the year.
Yes, I agree with that. I need to have it dated.
Even with a Sharpie, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's all sharp. That's all paint pen.
Oh, okay.
It's all paint pen. And
that's fantastic.
Peter Wilm in Birmingham, Alabama, local artist, did this for us. And he is fantastic. And everybody needs to go to his Instagrams and follow his stuff, Peter T. Wilm. And I think it's Gorilla Art. Oh, is his other Instagram? I cannot remember. Sorry, Peter, if I messed that up. But if you go to Peter, if you look at Peter, you'll see the other. So just look him up, which is pretty impressive that I remember his name, because I am the world's worst with names. So if I can remember a name, that means you made a solid impression. All right, guys. Mad Dog, again, extremely happy that you came on. Glad to have you. I'm glad you're looking great.
Oh, thank you.
And we
I
look.
hope I'm not getting quarantine fat.
No, you're looking good, man. And I hope that the shows start picking back up soon as we can all get out and about. And make sure that you go and you follow GCW's social medias. You follow, like, and subscribe to all the Furlough podcast stuff. I've got some more stuff that's coming out that's going to be on more terrestrial radio. I'm not ready to put that out yet, but I'm going to let you know, y'all. That's the scoop right now. And we enjoyed having everybody listen. Thanks, man.
Thank you. I didn't even look at the time. Chris